They're old-fashioned in the way they think computers were always meant to be gigantic machines that need to be stored in buildings to be taken seriously. Many of the current members of the board still like to receive all their updates the old-fashioned way.
Nikki tilted her head and frowned.
Through email? Written on paper.
The FBI agent cringed.
Yep, I still have a few bosses who want their updates on paper too, but people kind of expect their government to be backward and resistant to change, not Fortune 500 companies. You should remember that the people running your government are the same ones running those companies,
Jenny pointed out as they stepped into the lobby.
Once that is noted, all the other pieces of why our fucked-up world is the way it is start to fall into place.
They stopped outside to wait for a cab to come and pick them up, and Nikki considered what her little sister had said. It was one of those things people talked about all the time, but for some reason, anything they said was usually exactly that. Talk. Then again, she had come to terms with the fact that the woman was simply smarter than her in a variety of areas of life. Not all of them, she reminded herself, but still enough to earn respect.
Where do you want to go for lunch?
Jenny asked as they slid into the taxi that had been called for them.
This is your town, sis, so I'm down with any of your recommendations.
The woman obviously approved of that suggestion, and Nikki's eyebrow raised when they pulled up in front of what looked like a fairly swanky Brazilian steakhouse a few minutes away from the office building.
Are you sure you can afford this?
She asked as they paid the taxi driver.
You know I won't pick up any checks here, right? I'm actually used to that,
her companion answered, and a small smirk played on her lips.
My sister works for the government and needs me to pay her checks for her. Because you choose the expensive places I wouldn't be able to afford, and therefore wouldn't go to them on my own anyway. That's fair, but I suspect that if you ever elect to leave the FBI and find yourself a job in the private sector, you'll be able to finally let yourself enjoy the finer things in life.
She couldn't help but agree as they entered the restaurant, where a tall, handsome man with dark skin and an accent guided them to a table.
Besides,
Jenny continued,
I'll be able to pass this off as a business lunch so the company will pay for it anyway.
The agent raised an eyebrow as they looked at the drink menu.
Is that, legal?
Her sister shrugged dismissively.
Worst case, they turn me down for the lunch bill and I pay for it out of pocket. It'll be worth it to be able to spend time with you, big sis. Besides, their lunch prices are much better than the dinner prices. Trust me. I did want to talk to you about something.
Nikki's tone of voice changed to something less jovial as the waiter stopped beside them to take their drink orders.
That's a little ominous,
Jenny said, and turned to the man.
I'll have bubbly water with lime squeezed in.
Same for me, she said.
And a full churrasco experience for us both,
the other woman said to complete the order.
The full what now? They bring hunks of meat on spits directly from the fire, and as much as you can eat,
her sister explained with a slightly teasing grin.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Nikki grunted and refocused. She didn't want to let the admittedly appealing thought of all she could eat meat get in the way of what she wanted to say to her sister.
Speaking of hunks of meat, how did your chat with Taylor go? Taylor who?
The agent narrowed her eyes.
That bullshit didn't work on Mom or Dad, and it definitely won't work on me. Taylor McFadden, the guy currently in the hospital. You know they alert me whenever he gets any visitors, right?
Jenny tried to show no sign of surprise on her face and failed spectacularly.
That's an incredible invasion of my privacy. It's a military hospital, dumbass. You sign away your rights to privacy the moment you step through the door.
Her younger sister paused and flipped the wooden coin on their table to the green side as a couple of waiters approached with their meal.
Well, what do you have to say to me? Do you plan to keep me from talking to him? That depends.
Nikki smiled as the servers asked her if she wanted certain cuts of meat. By the time they were finished with the first round, her plate was piled high with a variety that made her mouth water.
What did you and he have to talk about?
Jenny cut a piece of juicy flank steak and popped it into her mouth before she replied.
I mostly only introduced myself. He was fairly out of it, drugged out of his gourd, so it took me a few attempts to finally get through the haze. It's almost like he's been through an experience that left him near death, and his body mostly broken, and he needs time to recover or something. Yeah, well, once he finally realized who I was, we talked. Eventually, when visiting hours were closing, I asked him if he wanted to continue the conversation over dinner when he was discharged from the hospital.
The agent paused in cutting her food and held her brown gaze pinned on the plate for a few long seconds before she took a deep breath.
What did he say?
Her companion narrowed her eyes and studied her a little more closely.
He said that would be cool and to tell him when and where. You know I'm a grown-ass woman, right? I get to do what I choose to and...